Hey, what's going on, guys? This is PukaTuka here, and today we're once again playing Doki Doki Blue Skies. I no clue what episode we're on because I've forgotten. I actually had to try and record this before, but I ended up deleting the whole footage because it was just going bad for me. All right, not like I remember much of the story, so basically it's all just gonna sound either familiar, and then I'm just gonna be like, oh right, or I'm just gonna not remember any of it, and we'll be fine the whole time. Alright, but anyway, let me fix this because I don't want that there. Sorry, there's a painting, a picture in the back. Anyway, let's just get into it. Just a few days ago, I never would have thought that I'd looked forward to an extracurricular so much. But here I am back for another club meeting and anticipating new antics from everybody. The usual scene awaits me as I step into the club room. Hi, Puka. Hey, Sayori. Looks like you're in a good mood today. I'm just still not used to being in this club that's all. Is that so? Well, it's nice to see you so cheery. Anyway, what's new? Oh my gosh, I have to burp. There we go. Oh, I've got some exciting news. What's up? Did you know that the student store sells that new brand of strawberry milk now? I saw when I passed by on my way here. I should have known better than to expect actual news from Sayori. Huh, I don't think I've ever tried that yet. I don't know. Strawberry milk is usually too sweet for me. What? But it goes great with melon bread. Sayori, you could eat a packet of raw sugar and you'd still say it's not sweet enough. Hey, that's an exaggeration. Seriously though, it goes really well with bread. The milk is sweet, but it still has that unique tart strawberry flavor that's eased by the richness of the milk. And when you pair it up with that fresh bread, the sweetness is spread out even more so that it is just the right amount of flavor. Wow, when did you become Gordon Ramsay? I'm a food expert, so you shouldn't trust me on this. I mean, given how many snacks you eat every day, I don't doubt that you know your food well. I'm gonna take that as a compliment, you meanie. So I'm a meanie for giving her a compliment. Anyway, aren't you hungry now? Talking about food always makes me hungry. Now that you mention it, maybe a little. Great, let's go to the student store and buy snacks together then. Now I see what she's playing at. I raise an eyebrow and Sayori notices. Puka, why are you looking at me like that? Well, Sayori, I have a nagging suspicion that you're only trying to convince me to come because you don't have any money. And you just want me to buy you a snack. What? I would never do that. Oh, really? Then let's see your purse. Huh? Your purse. Let's see it. Sayori laughs awkwardly as she pulls out her purse. She opens it and dumps its contents onto the desk. 2 small coins fall out. This little ruse might have actually worked had Sayori not pulled it on me numerous times when we were younger. The amount of time she managed to trick me into buying her another ice cream. I guess some things never change. Nice try, Sayori. Not fair. How did you know? Well, now wouldn't you like to know? Let's just call it intuition. In response, she sticks her tongue out at me. Typical. Yuri suddenly giggles. Eh? Oh my, I didn't notice she was eavesdropping. Looking over in her direction, I catch her peeking over the top of a book. I wasn't listening or anything. It was just something in my book. Yuri, tell Puka to let me borrow some money. That's none of my business, Sayori. Besides, you should only buy what you can responsibly afford. It's shameful to manipulate people into doing or buying things for you. Wow, isn't that a little harsh? I'm only messing around with Sayori after all. I didn't mean that at all. That came out much harsher than I intended. Sorry, Yuri blushes in embarrassment, looking away from us while playing with a strand of her hair. I apologize for how I've been acting lately. It looks like she still might be a bit ashamed of how she acted yesterday. You know, it's okay to be honest sometimes. You shouldn't always keep things that bother you to yourself. There's no way you could think that after. You were right though. I shouldn't trick people into buying me things. We never got to hear the restitution, something, the other third one. Funny how your 10-year-old self didn't seem to see it that way, though. Yuri lets out a small laugh, covering her mouth with her hand. Even the way she laughs is so shy and proper. Is this mischievous behavior something Sayori used to display as a child then? Oh yeah, although back then I fell for it time and time again. You wouldn't believe how much candy Sayori managed to con out of me. Wow, don't make me out to be so sneaky, Puka. Although those candies were so good. I'm surprised, Sayori. I'm surprised, Sayori. Coming from you, I guess there's a little devil inside of all of us, isn't there? What's going on here? Oh, nothing much. Sayori here was just up to some mischief. Oh? Yeah, she tried to trick me into buying her a snack. Hey, that's not true. Monica smiles wearily, I don't know, and turns to me. I'm assuming this isn't the first time. Well, you'd be right. We all share a little chuckle at that. Well, everyone except Sayori does. Hey, you guys are being really mean. Okay, we're sorry, but you did bring it upon yourself. Yeah, I know, but in my defense, I am really hungry. Well, Natsuki chimes in. If you're that hungry, you can have this one if you want. She offers up a giant cookie wrapped in plastic. Sayori immediately snatches it out of her hands. Thank you. Sayori hugs the cookie. Jeez, just eat it. Sayori rapidly tears open the wrapper and takes a big bite. How many times do you... Jeff, you should know by now that I am Doki Doki channel. That is all I am. There's no other games. I'm deleting everything else that isn't Doki Doki. Jeff, I've been waiting on this mod for quite some time. That's why I'm playing it. Yeah. So good. Sayori suddenly clasped her hands over her mouth. I bit my tongue. Ha! You're going through a lot over just one cookie. Natsuki takes a bite of her own cookie. Yours looks really good too, Natsuki. Can I try it? Jeez, beggars can't be choosers. But yours is chocolate. Yeah, why do you think I gave you that one? Fine. Still, I am really happy that you shared this one with me. Monkey. Thank you, Jeff. If you guys don't know YouTube, Jeff is a good friend of mine. I think he's been on a couple of videos, maybe. He's been on one for sure. One of my Minecraft ones. It was the Factions one, that failed series. We don't speak of that. We don't speak of my failed Minecraft videos, especially my first ever video. Definitely do not go watch that right now. Please don't. And I'm being as sincere as possible when I say don't. Okay? Anyway, Sayori gets out of her seat and goes behind Natsuki, then wraps her arms around her. Jeez. I get it. Cookie still in hand, Natsuki reaches up to nudge Sayori off of her. Jeff, that's a question we all ask ourselves, alright? No point in asking it. Just live with it. Sayori suddenly leans down and takes a bite out of Natsuki's cookie. Hey, did you seriously just do that? Mouthful, Sayori trots away to safety. Yuri, Monica, and I laugh as well. Jeez, you're such a kid sometimes. Monica, can you tell Sayori to quit taking my stuff? Sayori, you know you shouldn't do something like that without permission. Monica scolds Sayori. I know. I'm sorry, Natsuki. I don't even know what emote that is. Okay. It's so weird, though. Monica's actually here for this, instead of her being gone and everyone thinking she has a boyfriend. And then she comes back and says she plays the piano, actually. But it was so good. Hey, everyone but Natsuki chuckles. These things happen a lot, Monica? A little bit too much, to be honest. Don't worry, it's all in good fun. Good fun is teasing each other from time to time, not stealing food. Oh, calm down, it's no big deal. Natsuki pouts in her seat. Everyone calms down and quickly returns to their normal activities. Sayori has already managed to finish the entire cookie. Meanwhile, Natsuki gets up and heads for the closet, and Yuri is already lost in her book. I hear a sigh from the closet, presumably Natsuki. It sounds like she's annoyed by something. I approach her, curious. Hey, what's something wrong? Freaking Monica. She moved my stuff again. I spend all this time organizing my collection, and she comes in and ruins it. As she complains, Natsuki carefully slides boxes and stacks of books across the shelf. Once they're all in an orderly fashion, she turns around to face me. Do you have my manga? Oh yeah, here, let me get it. I quickly retrieve the book Natsuki lent to me yesterday and hand it to her. She examines the cover and the pages, looking for any sort of damage. After finding nothing, she slides the novel into its rightful place in one of the boxes. Told you I'd take care of my manga. Yeah, don't let it get to your head. You still need to pass the quiz before we can start the next one. You were serious? What, you thought I was joking? Here at the Literature Club, we take reading very seriously. Jeff, screw you. I know you haven't said anything, but screw you. Here at the yeah. Now sit down and get ready. Alright, I sit down in a desk, and while Natsuki sits parallel from me. Alright, first question. Which girl ends up falling down the stairs in chapter 7? Meow? I didn't really get that far. The expression that comes over Natsuki's face honestly scares me a little. What? How did you not finish? The first volume is like the shortest one out of all of them. I'm sorry. It was just, I was working on my poem for most of the night, so I didn't have time to read it. Natsuki's expression changes from that of anger to disbelief. Your poem? Yeah, I put some effort into it. Natsuki eyeballs me suspiciously before sighing. Fine, I guess we can read it here, but your poem better be really good. Yeah, I have little experience with writing in general, much less poems, so I fear that Natsuki will only get angry with me once she sees my lackluster writing abilities. But that's a problem we'll deal with later. Right now, I have to finish volume 1 of Parfait Girls. Natsuki heads to the closet to retrieve the novel once again. She comes back, manga in hand, and points to the floor. We're gonna sit there. What? Why? Because it's a lot easier than trying to read in chairs. That doesn't really make any sense. Just do it, okay? No need to argue over every little thing. I wasn't arguing. I stopped myself short when I realized I'm probably just getting on Natsuki's nerves. If possible, I'd like to try and avoid making her angry. I mean, alright. I sit down next to Natsuki while she hands me the novel. I flip open to the part I left out, but Natsuki speaks up before I can begin. You only got that far? Well, I may have watched some anime last night too. Natsuki furrows an eyebrow at me. I quickly start reading to avoid another scolding. Still, does this have like an overarching plot of some sort? Of course it does, dummy. What do you think? I don't have good taste? I have standards, you know. Hey, I never said I didn't think you had good taste. It's just, nothing has really happened yet. It's just one-off side stories so far. Well, that's just to help you get to know the characters. Like the chapter where they're at the shopping mall, it gives you a better idea of what each girl's like and don't like. There is an overarching plot, but the first volume is more like an introduction to the characters. I've read the entire series, so I know what happens. So I do know what happens. Alright, I guess. I guess I'll take your word for it. You sure do like the series, don't you? Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I can see why. It does have a lot of baking in it. It does, yeah. Coincidence? Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't start baking just because of this manga. Don't worry, I believe you. Not. Well, I guess that at least explains Natsuki's interest in baking. She is really good at it though, so it's not like it's a bad thing. We continue reading for a while before I reach the end of the novel. As I close the book, Natsuki snatches it from my hands and heads for the closet. She places the novel in its rightful spot and digs around for the second volume. So, did you enjoy it? Yeah, I did actually. It's a bit slow right now, but if what you say is true, it'll start getting good in the second volume. Speaking of which, Natsuki proudly holds up the second volume. Let's get started. Wait, alright? Okay, everyone. It's time to share poems. If that isn't good timing, I don't know what it is. Seriously? We were just about to start the second one. Well, you can always read it tomorrow, can't you? Fine. Natsuki, defeated, puts her manga back in the closet and retrieves her poem. I grab mine from my bag as well. Alright guys, who do we want to share ours with first? We can do it with Sayori, we can do it with Natsuki, Ayuri, or even Monica. Alright, so going based off the smart move, we let down Natsuki, so I think it's smart if we just go spend a little more time with her immediately. Natsuki reads my poem, occasionally glancing up at me from the page. You haven't done this before, right? Is that an insult or a compliment? No, I mean, it's not what I expected from someone like you. So I thought you've maybe did this before, Well, no, I've never written poems before. But why do you ask? Better than what you expected? I grin smugly as Natsuki fumbles her words. Don't get the wrong idea. It was better than yesterday's, yeah, but you just got lucky. You won't always be able to write something like this again. But maybe if you learned from a pro, your odds of success would increase. Alright then, let's see your poem. Read it and weep. I don't get it. I don't get why people will hate on good rhymes. They act like it's dumb and a waste of their time. I don't diss their free verse or deep subject types. Be dark all you want, just keep in your gripes. Oh sure, you can tell me if you have a problem. Just keep it constructive and things will be awesome. I'd like you to know that our readers will defer. There is no best style, you smug old glue sniffer. My poems may be simple and often straightforward, but charm can be found in such whimsy and order. Not all poems can be as complex as you'd like. If you think otherwise, you can go take a hike. What about kids or the elderly too? Some read for fun, I guess unlike you. Let us just go and enjoy what is written. You won't like it at all, that much is given. But give things a chance, you might find something nice. Just open your mind and that will suffice. I forget that, yeah, the argument between Natsuki and Yuri. So, yeah, that happened. So, now I have to think about that a little bit. But, so, what do you think? I mean, it's well written at least. I'm not sure how I should confront Natsuki about this, but to say that she still holds a grudge from yesterday would be an understatement. Yeah. God forbid Yuri sees this poem. Well, that's a given, but yeah, you could say that I was inspired. It felt really good to pound out these lines. Poetry is an amazing emotional outlet, you know. Uh-huh. Anyway, I can't wait to show Yuri this poem. Wait, hold on. What? Natsuki, do you really think that showing her this poem is a good idea? You're really going at her throat with this. Don't you think that you should work out your issues with her? Yeah, well, she never tries to see things my way, so why should I? I think that that's the wrong way to go about this. Relationships are a two-way street. Both people have to work to make things right. Why don't you try being the bigger person and just talk to her first? But I already know that she's not going to try. She's always just so preoccupied with looking complicated and smart. It's clear to me that she doesn't care if anyone can understand her, including me. You can't understand her if you don't even try. She might speak using a more complex vocabulary, and she may have mannerisms that seem strange to you. But from what I've seen of the both of you, she's more similar to you than you might think. Eh? Aren't you judging a book by its cover right now? Well, whatever. You can't hold this grudge forever, you know. At least think of Monica and Sayori. Fine, I won't share Yuri my poem. Be happy? I won't be happy until you try to talk to her. She's not going to bite, Natsuki. Alright, I get it. I'll try to talk to her sometime. Thanks, you're gonna do the club proud. Shut it. But you know, I'm glad that we share a similar writing style at least. It's cool to talk to someone who, well, gets me. I've been enjoying sharing with you, so consider yourself lucky. Alright, I will. Now, I'll be looking forward to tomorrow. It's the same here. Alright, now it'd be smart for us to go talk to Yuri. Make sure that, things are fine with her. They really never are in any other mod, so I don't see why they'd be fine here. But anyway. Would you like me to take a look at your poem? If it's anything like yesterday's, it should be wonderful. How can I put this? Yuri takes a deep breath. I think it's a good thing to experiment with style, Puka. This looks like something Sayer and Monica would write, doesn't it? Or perhaps Natsuki? Well, I guess I wanted to try writing in their styles a bit, you know? I scratched the back of my head sheepishly. Why do I feel so embarrassed by saying that? Yes, I figured as much. But of course, that's completely fine. I know my style is a bit convoluted, so it's understandable that you wouldn't like it. At the end of the day, I write for myself, not for anyone else. So what's one more person's disapproval, right? Yuri smiles weakly. Yuri, I really don't think it's anything like that. Just because our poems are different in structure, I don't think that means I dislike yours. If anything, your style is really good, and I think if I tried to emulate it'd come off as a really poor copy, you know? I see. Please forgive me. Sometimes my thoughts just fly from me like that. Anyway, pushing the boundaries in poetry can be a great thing. Metaphors might seem complicated sometimes, but don't stress them too much. While of course you want to choose images that can capture the message you're trying to get across, I think the first things that come to mind are probably the clearest. Even if the metaphor doesn't seem to make sense, it can force your reader to think about something they wouldn't normally. That's one way to truly enable your reader to see into their mind. If it's a very intimate exercise, I see. I think I might have to give it a go with my next poem. Thank you for sharing that with me, Yuri. Well, if you'd like to see an example of that, I've written something that captures that essence. Sure, I'd love to take a look. If it's something you've written, I'm sure it'll floor me. Yuri smiles shyly, handing me her poem. Resist. A whimsical, tiny cerise friend sleeps along the amber bookend, dreaming about a sanguine day where mirrored slender lampposts play. She beckons me, her hand extends, piercing pupils readily rend. Azure channels bend and twist, cautiously held above the wrist. Oh, that's wrist. Oh my gosh. When I made the video before, I said whist, and now I feel stupid. However, she finds her advances shunned, always crackling, always stunned, never able to draw the lance. Across my arm she's never danced. Perhaps it would be for the best if I laid her down to rest. Whilst I haven't given in to painful pleading from within, I think that it might be smart to save the song of fumbling hearts. Lest tears. Role-playing cringe. Okay, Hunter. Lest tears make me dizzily fall and answer her violent calls. Okay, there we go. Got that poem out of the way. I felt a bit guilty after yesterday's argument with Natsuki. I wanted to experiment with my style a bit more. Hopefully it's not too confusing. No, it's fine. Even if it's a bit more involved than yesterday's, I still like it. I'm noticing a lot more symbolism as well. I don't want to assume anything, but the tone of this poem, I'm not sure how to describe it. Yes. That's all I got. That's all there is to it. I really wanted to test my abilities in creative expression. I didn't go too far, did I? No, it's really good. I just don't know if I'm good enough at this to deduce the meaning. If I had to explain it, I'd say it's about a closely guarded secret. I imagine everyone has a little something like that, something they're forced to keep to themselves for fear of ridicule. It's nice to be able to write about that sort of thing every now and then. If it's something you enjoy doing, shouldn't you write about it more? Well, it's not that simple. It's something that I'm uncomfortable talking about. I'm not sure people would understand. If anyone were to find out about it, well, I guess as long as it's not hurting anyone, people shouldn't pry. Well, I got some news about that message right there, but we'll get into that at another point, maybe. Do you think so? Sorry, I was just thinking of something. It's a good point, though. The best I can do is try to embrace my own weirdness, right? Otherwise, I think I'd hate myself. Sorry to keep you so long. Thank you for allowing me to ramble. Yeah, no problem. You know, I'm always here. Alright, let's go talk to Sayori. Alright. Ooh, I like this one, Puka. It has some nice feelings in it. Alright. I'm glad. Still, though, your tone makes it sound like you liked yesterday's poem better. I guess you caught me. Sometimes you know me a little more. Sometimes you know me a little too well for my own good. Well, don't just try to be nice about it. If I'm doing a bad job, then I'd rather just hear it. No, I still like this one, I promise. I wouldn't lie to you, Puka. Never, ever. Yeah, I guess so. What made yesterday's poem so great compared to this one, then? Sorry. I'm probably not the best person to get feedback from. Monica once told me it's impossible to really rate a poem because they're so subjective, so I just judge poems through my heart. I guess I look for how the poem makes me feel. I guess my heart just tells me I preferred yesterday's poem. I can't really put my finger on it. Not very helpful, I know, I'm sorry. But I'll always enjoy reading your poems. I sigh. Well, at least there's sub-feedback. At least sub-feedback is better than no feedback. Thanks, I guess. Can I read your poem now? Sure. Bottles, we already know this one. I pop off my scalp like a little cookie jar. Finally, all alone inside my head. Alright. The bittersweet poem. Wow, Sayori, I didn't expect this at all. Did you really write this? Of course I did. Remember I said that I write the best poem ever yesterday? Well, here it is. After all, Monica has taught me a lot, and I've been really in touch with my feelings recently. So that's what this poem's about. I suppose that much was obvious. Unlike Yuri's or Monica's poems, Sayori's are relatively simple to figure out. So, if I've interpreted this correctly, you're basically doing everything you can to keep your friends happy? Yay, you got it! I really enjoyed writing this one. Just getting your thoughts out onto paper and turning them into a poem, it's like magic. Well, I think it's amazing. You should really be proud of it. Thank you, Puka. That means a lot. I didn't think it was that good, though. Nah, it's great. Seriously. I can't help but notice that the later half of the poem isn't quite as cheery. In fact, it's somewhat alarming, a very dark contrast from the cheeriness I'm used to with Sayori. Although, maybe I'm looking into this a little too much, but the end of the poem is pretty dark. And you said you've been in touch with your feelings recently, so I'm just checking. Are you okay? Yeah, of course, silly. I forgot to tell you, I really like writing about bittersweet stuff. Stuff that isn't just happy or just sad. A mixture of the two. And this poem shows what I mean. It's just my writing style. Ah, okay, that makes sense, I guess. Well, either way, I'm glad you're enjoying writing so much. I hope you keep it up. You got to have a hobby. Of course, and hopefully you'll also stick with it. So I look forward to seeing all the poems you write in the future. Well, no guarantees there, but just from seeing the passion in Sayori's eyes, it's hard to be pessimistic. And we're on to Monica. Hi again, Puka. I'm trusting that the club's been doing you well. Same answer as yesterday. That's nice to hear. So, how's the writing going? Alright, I guess. Well, just alright, No, I guess I shouldn't say that I guess I should say that it's revolutionized my world and brought color into my previously lifeless, life. Well, I say that, but the club, if not the poetry, really has made my days more interesting. Okay, can it with the sarcasm, mister. At least you're not hating it, though, right? No, it's been an interesting experience, at least. Gives me a new hobby to do. I'm happy that you're applying yourself, at least. Maybe soon you'll come up with a masterpiece. I wouldn't count on that. You never know. Want to share what you wrote for today? Sure, here you go. I give my poem to Monica. And now I'm reading hers, right? Pressurized. I float there, in vast hollowness, emptiness, large but small, grandiose and overwhelming. Yet a dust mote, drifting, meandering, carried along, an endless void. But then I realize, my eyes open, bloodshot, my mouth opens, gasping for breath in this crushing, depressing, restraining, boundless, everlasting, suffocating vacuum of torment. Atmosphere, Pascal, tore, screaming with no mouth, stretching, restraining, unrelenting, clawing with no nails, disintegrating in a suffocating poem of absence. Ooh. This is even more abstract than your last one, huh? Really, or freeform too, if that's what you call it. I guess it's just the way I write. I'm sorry if you don't like it. No, I never said that. It's just the kind of thing I've never really seen before, I guess. The other girls do. The other girls don't do stuff nearly as much as you. Don't do this stuff nearly as much as you, at least. Yeah, you could say that they're a bit more traditional when it comes to their structure, but I kind of like playing with my space on the paper. Choosing where and how to space your words can totally change the mood of the poem. It's almost like magic. Hey, I've heard this before somewhere. Someone else said that, but we won't really get into that because I don't get the choice to bring it up. The way I wrote the lines, really short, makes it feel like they're trying to speak over the noise, and it fragments everything and leaves a dissonant tone with the reader. I see. I guess that there's a lot of things you can do with poetry. Definitely, poetry is very much an art form. You're meant to craft poems using never-before-seen combinations of words to interpret the world around you. You really love poetry, huh? Maybe you should write a poem about poetry someday. That's not a bad idea. Anyway, it's still hard for me to tell what your poem's about. Sometimes asking what a poem is about isn't the right question. A poem can be as abstract as a physical expression of a feeling, or a conversation with the reader. So putting it that way, not every poem is about something. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Are you ever too shy to share your writing because you're afraid it's not that good? Now, we've all had to experience that at this point with the poetry discussions and all, but it can really be disheartening to get a lukewarm response to something you put so much into. If you find other people who enjoy writing though, then sharing becomes a lot easier. Because instead of just telling you that your writing is good or okay or bad, they'll want to focus more on everything that went into it and the things you can work on. It's much more encouraging that way, and it will make you want to continue improving. Yeah, it definitely is more helpful getting real criticism and feedback rather than just empty words. I guess I've really hit the mother load with this literature club. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Thank you for stopping talking. Alright, now I gotta take a little break. Just kidding, we're gonna continue on. Okay, everyone. We're all done reading each other's poems, right? Actually, Natsuki and I haven't shared yet. Uh-oh, I can feel a storm coming on. Yuri hesitantly approaches Natsuki, who isn't meeting her eyes. I gotta move my wires and all that stuff real quick. Okay. Alright, that's fine. There we go. In considering Natsuki's poem for today, it's no wonder that she doesn't want to share with Yuri. Judging by Monica and Sayori's anxious expressions, they seem to be thinking along the same lines as I am. I can practically see Natsuki sweating pinballs. Meanwhile, Yuri appears to be blissfully unaware of the situation. I'd convince Natsuki to reconcile with Yuri, but if she sees Natsuki's poem, well, it's all over. So, Natsuki, if I may, how about we do this tomorrow? I'm sorry, it's 9:43 and I'm getting tired. How about we do this tomorrow instead? I'm not feeling well. It's my time of the month. I can practically see Monica internally facepalming. Natsuki must have forgotten that the club isn't all girls anymore. Is that so? I'm sorry you must feel absolutely terrible if you can't even share your poem today. You don't need to apologize, it's not your fault. I can definitely share tomorrow. Well, if you aren't well enough to share your poem, would you like to see mine? I wrote it thinking of our argument the other day. I suppose that I wanted to show you that I'm more open-minded than I may have appeared. As a way of repenting. I know it's not much, but hopefully this can contribute to a reconciliation between us. Although we may have our disagreements, I would like to consider you a friend. And friends forgive each other. I'm sorry if that's presumptuous of me to say. No, it's not presumptuous of you to say, because I'd like to consider you a friend too. So can you hand over that poem then? With a shy smile, Yuri hands the sheet of paper in her hands over to Natsuki. As Natsuki reads the poem, her eyes widen. You're writing using rhyme and stuff like me? You could say that you convinced me to practice adding more lyricism to my poetry. Natsuki looks like she's speechless for once. But thanks, Yuri, it's awesome. There's really no need to thank me. Well, I'm really glad that I got to know you, and I'll definitely have something that'll knock your socks off tomorrow. And I'll be looking forward to that. I do hope that that you feel better tomorrow as well, so that you could share your work with me then. Yeah, of course. That was a crisis and a half avoided. I'm really glad that Natsuki and Yuri worked things out, and it seems that Monica and Sayori feel the same way. It's good to see everyone getting along. Now that we are all done, though, I have something to discuss with you all. There's a great opportunity for expanding the club that's coming up. Is this about the festival? You could say that. Do we really have to do something? It's only in a few days, so it's not like we'll be able to come up with anything good. Yes, that's something I'm concerned about as well. With such little time to prepare, I doubt we'll be able to put together anything good enough to attract new members. Yeah, we'll just end up embarrassing ourselves. Oh, don't worry so much. We're going to keep it simple, okay? Nothing more than a few decorations. I can design some pamphlets to hand out at the event, and Sarah made posters to put up around the school. Okay, that's great and all, but that doesn't tell us what we're actually going to be doing for the event. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to put on a poetry performance. A what? Anyone who's seen Phineas and Ferb? There you go. Monica? Everyone is going to choose a poem to recite out loud. It doesn't have to be written by you, as long as you put your heart into the recitation. Although, of course, it'd be great if you could show off your own work. And then the cool part is, we're also going to let anyone else come up and recite their poems too. Yeah, I was thinking of, I put a thing on the posters that says bring your own poems. It's gonna be so cool. Sayori pulls a poster out of her bag and holds it up for us to see. Are you kidding me, Monica? Don't tell me you started putting those posters up already. Well, I did. Do you really think it's that bad of an idea? Well, you didn't even ask us before you started advertising. We never agreed to stand up in front of a bunch of random people and perform our poems. I agree with Natsuki. I could never, in my life, do something like that. Imagining it, Yuri shakes her head in fear. Guys, yes, let's please calm down and take a moment to think about it. I understand that you two haven't had much experience sharing your poems out loud. In fact, we all haven't done that much. But I still think we should try our best. Look around. Monica motions to all of us. We're all here because we have a passion for literature and this club. Don't you want to share that passion with other people? To inspire them to pursue their inner writer? Yeah, it's all about exploring yourself and trying new things all while having fun. Monica and I nod our heads in agreement. Natsuki and Yuri, on the other hand, remain silent. Guess that means it's my turn to say something. I mean, I don't think it's that much to ask. As Monica said, we're all here because we care about the club and want to see it flourish. And if all that means is a 2-minute poetry performance, then I think we can manage. Sayori and Monica's face light up as I finish speaking. Hey, it isn't like we don't care about the club. It's just, do we really have to perform? Do you know how hard it is to get new members? It's because people are just narrow-minded jerks. They don't even give literature a chance. Who's to say the festival will be any different? I am inclined to agree with Natsuki. I'm sorry, Monica. I know how much you want to do this, but I just can't imagine performing in front of a crowd of strangers. Well, at least Yuri and Natsuki have proven they can agree on something. Monica sighs, her eyes close as she rubs her template. Look, guys, I know you're anxious. I understand that. I really do. To be honest with you, I'm a little nervous myself. After all, it's my club, so people are going to judge me the most if our performance doesn't go well. Natsuki, if it makes you feel any better, a few of my friends will be coming along. They are lovely people. They won't judge you for your taste. I've known them for a few years, trust me. Natsuki huffs, turning away. She doesn't look particularly convinced. And Yuri, I know it's a scary thought, but I've thought of a way to ease you into it. Why don't we start by practicing our poems to each other in the club? No way. Oh, wait. Oh, wrong person. Monica. Okay, now I'm mixing them up. Monica, this is too sudden. Well, if you can't recite your poem in front of the club, how do you expect to do it in front of strangers? Monica, there's just gotta be something else we can do. Yuri nods vigorously at Natsuki's words, anxiety written all over her face. But guys, no, Sayori, it's okay. If you guys really think you can do better than a poetry performance, then I'll gladly go along with an alternative. So any ideas? An awkward silence fills the room. We all glance at each other anxiously before Sayori finally speaks up. Ooh, we could... Sayori stops and thinks to herself for a moment. Wait, no, never mind. That wouldn't work. Once again, the room falls silent. Well then, I guess we can't come up with something different after all. Monica laughs, attempting to ease the tension in the room. I know you guys might not be the most on board with the idea, but I think it's our best option. Please, guys, please. Can you stop pressuring us? I'm honestly surprised Natsuki's putting up this much resistance. I knew she was a little hot-headed, but even still, I'm not pressuring you, Natsuki. Both of them have raised their voice, and Yuri looks a little startled, and Sayori looks anxious to intervene. Oh, guys, don't please. There's no need to get angry. Can't we just discuss this normally? Monica reflects on Sayori's words, looking a little ashamed of her outburst. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to raise my voice. It's just, this festival is important to me, that's all. Ever since I created this club, I've always wanted to show it other people. Natsuki, Yuri, I imagine you were both a little apprehensive when Puka joined, right? After all, he was an unfamiliar face. She smiles warmly at me. But look, he's integrating really well. She faces Natsuki. I mean, you two bonded over manga, right? He asked you for recommendations, and from what I could gather, you both share a common interest. Hey, it's not like we bonded or anything. It's just nice to find someone else who likes manga. That's all. She shoots a look at Yuri. Of course. How silly of me to forget. Anyway, maybe some of these new members will also be manga enthusiasts. Who knows? Surely you'd like to be able to share your passion with other people, right? Natsuki shrugs half-heartedly. I suppose that'd be cool, yeah. Monica beams. See, that's exactly my mentality, wanting to share things that you like with new people. Yeah, I know. It's just, are there really no other ideas? Remember, poetry performances are a pretty big part of this club. We want to show people what our meetings are really like. If we just gave out posters or showed them our poems in writing only, it wouldn't really be a fair reflection. Seeing that there's no real way she's going to win this, Natsuki sits back and grumbles something under her breath. So, what do you think, guys? For me? For us? Fine. I still don't think it's a good idea, but fine. I'll do it. Just stop guilt-tripping us. Phew. Thanks, Natsuki. And you, Yuri? Yuri nervously glances at each of our expectant faces. But Monica, what if people start, being inconsiderate and disturb us or laugh? I'm not surprised Yuri is worried about this. Oh, don't you worry. If anyone steps out of line, I'll put a swift stop to that. She has a stern glint in her eye, and I have to repress a shiver. I'm glad she's with us. I'm glad she's with us. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you see, it's how you pronounce the sentence sometimes. Because I could say, hello? Like a question, or I could say, hello. Or I could say, I don't know. I have no other examples right now. Yuri looks somewhat relieved, but it's clear that she's still worried. She swallows and nods. I suppose I don't really have a choice, do I? I shake my head. Okay, I'll do it. Yay, that's everyone. Sorry, I gotta clear my throat. Mute for a second. There we go. I think it's out, but it still feels like it's there. Never mind. We'll deal with it when it comes. You're the best, Yuri. This club is seriously going to be the death of me. I know you'll do great, Yuri. Just trust me. But anyway, let's move back onto the main event. While we have time, I want each of you to choose a poem of yours to practice reciting in front of each other. Yuri and Natsuki exchange uneasy glances, but don't say anything. Don't worry, I'll go first so everyone feels a little more comfortable. Can I go next? Of course. Now, let's see. Monica flips through her notebook, searching for a specific poem. Here we go. The title of this poem is The Way They Fly. Monica begins reciting her poem. Her clear, confident voice fills the room. Her eyes move across the page and sync with her lips. Every word has the perfect amount of emotion put behind it, making the poem almost come to life. Her inflection is extraordinary. I'm impressed, and judging by a quick glance around me, so is everyone else. Sayuri looks amazed. Yuri has an intense expression on her face that I don't understand. Even Natsuki's once sour attitude is replaced by awe. Finally, Monica finishes the recitation. The four of us applaud. Monica takes a breath and smiles. That was so good, Monica. Thank you very much. I was just hoping to set a good example. Are you ready to go next, Sayuri? Yep. Sayuri jumps up from her chair and takes Monica's place at the front of the room. This poem is called, how did you do it so easily, Monica? Well, I try to imagine you're alone, like you're reciting it to yourself. It's your poem, so it'll come out the best that way. Oh, I think I get it. Sayuri nods to herself. Anyway, this poem is called My Meadow. Sayuri Oh, I finally caught up. You can see the skip is no longer black. Alright, anyway. Sayuri begins reciting her poem. It seems as if her soft voice is a perfect match. As for the poem itself, it has a familiar tone when compared to her other ones. It's peaceful yet somber at the same time. Bittersweet, you could call it. Hearing the poem in Sayuri's voice almost gives an entirely new meaning. I think this is what Sayuri means when she says she likes my poems. It's like seeing a whole new side of someone you thought you knew completely. Sayuri finishes and we all applaud. I did it! Yep, good job. Sayuri beams as she walks back to her seat. So, who'd like to go next? Natsuki, Yuri, and I all look at each other nervously. I open my mouth, but Yuri beats me to the punch. I'll go. Nice, thanks for showing initiative, Yuri. Yes. Yuri rushes over to the podium, clutching a sheet of paper in her hands. This poem is called... Yuri freezes as she looks up at us. You can do it, Yuri. It's called Afterimage of a Crimson Eye. Crimson Eye, all that lore that, the game thunker has done, or game theorist, I don't know. Yuri begins to recite her poem. Her voice is shaky at first, but the more she reads, the more confident she becomes. It's similar to what happens when she gets absorbed in her books. The shy and apprehensive Yuri I'm used to is replaced by a fierce and confident woman. The poem itself is like a maze in its structure, with twists and turns every line. But Yuri is unfazed and enunciates each word with perfect timing. This must be a rare glimpse into the whirling fire Yuri keeps concealed inside of her head. Suddenly, she's finished. Everyone is stunned. Yuri snaps back into reality. Snap back to reality. I really wish I could do like I wish I had the like editing abilities to just do like small edits like that, where I could just put that little clip of that song in there. But no, I don't have that. Yuri snaps back into reality and glances around her as if she bewildered even herself. Monica is the first to start applauding. Sheepishly, I follow along, and soon the club is filled with the sound of applause. Yuri ducks her head in embarrassment, a shy smile creeping over her face. Yuri, that was really good. Like I said, you don't have anything to worry about. Thank you for sharing. Thanks. Guess Yuri's done for the day. So, who'd like to go next? Natsuki? Why should I go before Puka? It's not like I can compare to you guys anyway. Might as well let Puka lower everyone's standards before I go. Natsuki. Monica hastens her chastise, I don't know, to chastise her, shooting me a sympathizing look. That was kind of rude, don't you think? You should apologize to Puka. Natsuki's face turns red as all the girls learn to look at her. I decide to spare Natsuki from the embarrassment. Hey, it's really no big deal. I'll end up going at some point anyway. Might as well do it now. Thing is, I don't really have much of a selection to choose from. I'll just have to go with what I wrote for today. Will I get to see your poem? Will I finally get to see it? I've seen it one time, maybe twice. But I hope I get to see it a third or a second time, whatever it is. I stand up and step in front of the podium. Everyone has their eyes on me, making me feel terribly awkward. I take a deep breath. In my head, I repeat to myself the advice Monica gave to Sayori. Try to imagine you're alone, like you're reciting it to yourself. Alone. My house is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of being alone. The scene rapidly develops in my head, like I'm recalling a recent memory. Oh, this is new. Okay. I'm sitting alone at my desk. The dim light hanging from the ceiling gives a warmth to the room. In front of me is the poem I had just finished, the ink from my pen still fresh on the page. I pick up the notebook and begin reciting out loud. While I'm not the most confident in it, I still try and put energy into it. I can almost hear my voice echoing from my bedroom walls. I'm really scared right now. I'm gonna try and unmute, okay? I'm gonna hope that this whole time I wasn't muted. I don't know if I unmuted or not. I know I muted at some point, but but I don't remember unmuting. Oh God, I can almost hear my voice echoing off my bedroom walls. As I finish, the sound of applause pulls me out of my daydream. I'm back in the club room, standing at the podium while the girls politely applaud my performance. That was good, Puka. I guess. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. I don't think it's your writing abilities, but rather your lack of confidence that weighs you down. Okay, well, yeah, nice to know I didn't do that good. But, yeah, I'll take it. Anyway, that's something that'll improve over time, though, so don't worry. Yeah, okay. Thanks. Alright then. That just leaves you, Natsuki. Yeah. I'm going. My throat. Gosh. As she says this, Natsuki begrudgingly gets out of her seat and makes her way to the podium. The poem is called, Stop Looking at Me, but You're Presenting. You don't have to stare straight into my soul, though. She takes a moment to compose herself. Anyway, the poem is called Jump. Natsuki takes a breath. While her voice is enthusiastic, the poem has a surprising amount of energy to it. The rhymes tie into each other seamlessly, creating a flow that moves the poem along the brisk pace. The words seem to bounce up and down with the rhythm, seemingly making the poem come to life. It's Natsuki's signature style, and it works exceptionally well when read out loud. She quickly finishes and huffs as she makes her way back to her seat while we all applaud her. That wasn't so bad, was it? She stares at her poem blankly for a second before replying. Easy for you to say. You better not make me do that again. Well, that's what we're gonna be doing at the festival, so do you at least feel confident enough to do it in front of a crowd? I guess. It's not like there's any other choice. And I guess it'll be easier doing it in front of other people. I can just put on whatever face I want with strangers. I don't care what they think of me. But when it's just my friends, it's just embarrassing. But I still hate the idea that we have to perform. She mutters that last sentence under her breath. The others probably didn't even hear it. I knew Natsuki was stubborn, but this is a whole other level. However, it does look like she's going along with the idea of performing for the festival. Well, at least for now, since she's basically outvoted and can't come up with any other idea. Really? That's a surprise. For me, it's the other way around. Having all those people looking at you, judging you. Well, I don't like to think about it. I can relate to that. Who can relate? Yuri murmurs quietly. The thought of so many eyes observing your every move, all at once. She trails off, shaking her head. Well, that's just how it is. Natsuki sighs in frustration. Well, I guess in that case, you won't have much to worry for the festival. Speaking of which, I want to thank all of you for performing. It might be difficult, but now we have a general idea of what it'll be like. We'll be able to prepare ourselves. Make sure you pick out a poem and show it to me by tomorrow, okay? And I'll need to know so I can make the pamphlets over the weekend. I should probably find a different poem to recite. I know you'd prefer it if we use our own poetry, but I'm probably going to pick a poem from a poet I like or something. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, Puka. I'm already pleasantly surprised that you're putting all this effort into the club. No expectations, huh? More like any effort put in makes me happy in general. Monika smiles at me and then turns to smile at everyone. That goes for everyone here. Thanks for going along with these last-minute plans. Anyway, I think that about does it for today. Let's try and write these poems for tomorrow, okay? I know the festival's coming up, but it's been working out nicely the past few days, and I'd like to continue. Tomorrow we'll finalize who's doing what for the festival, and then we'll have the weekend to prepare. Remember, we still have Monday. We have till Monday. It'll be so much fun. I can't wait. We all stand up, packing away our things. However, Monika's voice stops us. Oh, and guys? She pauses, twirling a strand of her hair in hand. This club truly does mean so much to me, and I really appreciate what you're willing to do for it. You guys are the best. In typical fashion, Natsuki just rolls her eyes. Yuri smiles timidly, while Sayori wears a hearty smile. Let's just get it over with. I hope we don't regret this. That's okay, Monika. Nothing to thank us for. We really appreciate what you've made for us. I can't help but catch Yuri muttering underneath her breath after she says this. I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, I love it here. We'll get to spread this cozy little place to other people. Yeah, it's all good, Monika. All right. I stand up and grab my bag. Well, I'm certainly not as enthusiastic as Monika or Sayori about the festival. If I can pull that little daydream stunt again, I think I'll be alright. It's for the sake of the club, not to mention impressing the girls. Once I'm fully packed up, I walk over to Sayori. Ready to go? Yep. Geez, don't you two ever get tired of always walking home? Don't you ever get tired of always walking home with Puka, Sayori? Hey, what's that supposed to mean? No, don't mind her. You guys are more adorable than anything. Alright. No need to make such a big deal out of it. It must be a little nice, though. Yeah, I guess. Jeez. Let's just go already, Sayori. Okay. Gosh. The two of us begin with the walk home. A lot has changed in the past few days. Lost in thought, I don't even notice how quiet Sayori's being until we're almost back home. There's a lot going on in the club now, eh? I'll bet you're thinking about all your new vice president duties that you'll have to deal with when the club grows bigger. Yeah. Anything specific on your mind? Not really. Sorry, did you want to talk? I mean, we don't have to if you're thinking about stuff. No, it's nice talking to you. I was thinking about something from earlier. It's nice that we all, never mind, it's nothing. You're sounding a little like Yuri right now, huh? Yeah. Well, I guess I have a question for you, Puka. What's up? Sayori clears her throat before speaking. So, let's say that one day Natsuki asked to walk home with you. Huh? What would you do? What kind of question is that? You're kind of putting me on the spot here. Whoa. Wait, it's not that big of a change, but it's the fact that they change it from Yuri to Natsuki. I know that Natsuki is more liked than Yuri, so it's supposed to be more difficult. But I would still walk home with Sayori. Sayori, I'd walk with you, of course. Sayori pauses for a moment. She glances at me from the side before turning away. But she's so cute and fun to be around. Jeez, why me? Oh, why me? Her reply surprises me, and I'm not sure how to answer or what she wants to hear. I already see her in the club every day. Besides, you always seem really you always seem to really like going home together. I wouldn't want to ruin. I wouldn't just ruin that for you. You're so silly, Puka. She gives me a pained smile. Ooh. Anyway, you think about me too much sometimes. Natsuki would deserve it if she wanted it. So, Sayori, I've already made up my mind. I really can't figure you out sometimes. Sorry. Besides, like I said, I've enjoyed catching up with you again. Why would I want to change that for another girl? Walking home with you and talking about just anything, it's a great throwback. She doesn't seem as happy as I'd have imagined. I mean, both our childhoods were pleasant. Strange. The conversation trails off. It's kind of a weird thing for Sayori to care so much about. But I want to respect her and keep her happy too. Sayori and I part ways without saying another word. I reach my house and open the door. I'm home. No response. I'm alone, as usual. I mumble that part to myself. Talking to myself as if I'm the protagonist of a manga or a game. I got some news for you, bud. I must be going stir crazy. Mama's still out on her business trip. She's never home anymore. I miss her. But I don't blame her for anything. It's hard enough providing for yourself, let alone a kid. I actually want to take a screenshot. I might have a plan for this. But I won't, let alone a kid. Since I'm alone, I decide to make an instant meal for dinner. Digging through my cabinets, I find some old soup cans. Miso soup sounds good. I unwrap the packaging, pour in some water, and place the meal in the microwave. While it cooks, my mind wanders back to my performance earlier. That daydream was so vivid, so realistic. Can I really pull that performance again? But this time in front of a crowd? It wasn't even that great in the first place. Just doing it in front of the girls was nerve-wracking. Guess I'm not really used to being around people again. Maybe that's it. Thinking about it, I guess I've kind of been subconsciously isolating myself from people ever since the divorce. It's not funny. It's not funny. I didn't laugh. I didn't chuckle. I didn't even smile at that. You're crazy if you think I did. Before it even, in some cases, I wonder when I started shunning myself. Maybe that's part of why Sayori and I drifted apart over the past few years. It wasn't intentional or anything. It just happened. I guess, at least, I don't think it was intentional, but I'm glad I got to reconnect with her in the literature club. It's given me something to do, something to look forward to that isn't anime or video games. Talking with the girls has made me feel more appreciated. It's a nice feeling, something that's been missing from me ever since the divorce. Maybe that's why Sayori likes walking home with me. It makes her feel appreciated. Sayori. The more I think about it, the more concerned for her I get. She said some pretty weird stuff, but I guess people just have their off days. Maybe she's just changed a little bit over the years. Pretty normal, right? I'd like to think I'd be able to tell if something was up with her, although given our recent distance, I'm not so sure. Maybe we've started talking again, but there's a lot of lost time. Maybe that'll change and we'll go back to how we used to be. Beep. I hope. Me too, bud. Hey yo, let's go, partners. Hey yo, let's go, baby, let's go. There we go, baby. Let's go. Oh right, I forgot to do the show. I guess this could be a screenshot too. I don't know. All right, so the next one will be for Yuri, if I'm correct. So we'll just choose words that. Oh, okay. Shame. Okay. And okay. I'm no. Destiny. Alright, skipping after image. I don't even. Mausoleum. Photograph. Frightening. There we go. Horror. Silly boop. Whistle. Vanilla. Universe. Flying. Inferno. Universe. Okay. Anxiety. Philosophy. Climax. Exist now. Together. Disaster. Excitement. Portrait. Alright, I think we're pretty good. Uncontrollable. Infallible. Essence. No. Email, hair, incapable. There we go. Abstract. There we go. Smart moves. I was really scaring myself. But we're gonna have to save that for another time. Let me save over this because last time that save was really throwing me off. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and hit that little bell so you know when I'm live and next time I upload a video. But other than that, there's nothing left for me to say. But get out of here. Go watch another video of mine. Alright, you just do everything I said. Alright.